Hello, everyone. He's, on his phone right now, but either way, we're going to learn about the Transformer Mirage. A Transformer I barely know. I think I usually...
Okay, so quick thing. Upper class used to go hunting turbo foxes.
Turbo Foxes.
Yes, it's a recurring Cybertronian wildlife. His bio is where it actually originates from.
Hmm.
Joined the war because, well, otherwise he's not going to be able to enjoy his rich lifestyle.
Okay.
If some dickhead with an arm cannon keeps running around. Um, Most iconic appearance. Generally depicted as being able to turn invisible. That's not actually his original power. It was supposed to be holograms,
Oh.
but invisibility stuck. Generally, can be the name be slapped onto any Formula One car.
Yeah, I can see that.
Cliff Jumper spent an entire episode calling him a traitor
Why?
because he thought he was a traitor. This was the most iconic appearance of both of them,
Well then.
and actually somehow carried over into his fucking RID 2001 incarnation, which is actually the first time I saw the name
I just
because I
remember...
had the toy.
I just get Mirage confused with Jazz because they're both very fast cars. Usually.
Yep.
And
Yeah, I think he was in Rise of the Beast, and to be frank, that should have been Jazz. But I guess they were still trying to pretend like this could still be in the original movie timeline.
We don't... Wait, the original movie?
Allegedly, Bumblebee has been everything since Bumblebee has been a reboot.
Oh, that. Yeah.
But they've been playing fast and loose with it, hence why Megatron didn't show up in
It just kind of sounds like they don't know what they
the Bumblebee
want.
movie. That's because they don't know what they want.
Yeah. The funniest thing is, I think the only, like, ongoing, like, big franchising movie that's still going on is the Monsterverse. Or doing well.
Yeah, that's because they're breaking their stuff up.
That's
Apparently, Monarch was received pretty well, and
well,
they got a new movie slated for 2027.
Well, that's also because they know what the audience want. They want cool, big monster fights. They want to see Godzilla team up with King Kong and beat the shit out of a giant icy lizard.
Yes, I just have one request.
What?
Bring my boy Jet Jag in.
You want Jaguar? We got
Jet
Rodan.
Jaguar is awesome, dude.
We got Rodan, Mothra. We got King Ghidorah.
Like, I can't accept Geigen because I know they'll kill off Geigen in a heartbeat.
Well, yeah, of course. He's the henchman villain. He's never the villain.
He survived every single movie appearance up until Final Wars.
Final Wars is where he died to his own weapons.
That said, he did die in Zone Fighter. Anime movies, he died in the backstory, but well, as a sort of prototype Mechagodzilla. And he's currently being bullied over on Godzilla by Little Godzilla.
That's kind of funny.
Indeed.
Let's end into this. Oh, have you seen Guy
This episode
Big Day
contains
Off?
Spoilers
Yes, it's great.
Rise of the Beasts.
I prefer Anguirus' Day Off, but yeah.
Yeah.
Rise of the Beasts is in cinemas now, and that's my cue to
Well, it's
finally
out
do
now,
an
but
episode you've all been requesting for a long time.
Yeah,
These are the
I'm still
basics
kind of
on the
upset it did better
movies
than
leading-
one.
Yeah, I will say it's not nearly as good as one. But then again, I firmly blame the marketing on that one. They mismarketed the hell out of that movie.
Meanwhile, Rise of the Beast during the Beast Wars crowd really wasn't Beast Wars. Anyway, God, the Transformers Legends game had such good artwork. They really should have printed it physically. So they did. Briefly. The TCG reused Legends artwork, and it looks gorgeous.
What? The Autobot Illusion Caster, Mirage.
What about Illusion Caster, huh?
The toy that would become the original Mirage
Ah,
was
the
first
Formula
released
One.
as part of the Japanese toy line
Yep.
Diaclone in
Advertising
1983,
Gitain
and was
cigarettes.
imported by
What?
Hasbro to become part of the first year of the Transformers toy
Use a
line
race car,
in
get sponsors.
1984.
Yeah,
The
that
figure
does make sense,
transformed
actually.
into the Ligier JS11.
Wow,
a
it actually
unique,
looks quite a bit
real-life
like it.
French Formula One race
Yeah.
car, complete with
Like,
modified
Wheeljack's
versions
also
of the actual
1-to-1 on a
Ford
race car.
sponsor
I just didn't realize the Formula One race cars were bulky because they're a lot slimmer now.
Oh yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
oh. Like you could not get
can't
me
e-
into that thing because of one, that thing looks like if it hits anything, I'll die immediately.
Well, simply don't die. The meat sizzling isn't coming through, right?
The meat? No, I ain't hearing nothing.
Awesome. That is
decals for
sizzling.
Gitain cigarettes and the Elf Petroleum Company. A profile for Mirage was written by Marvel Comics writer Bob Budiansky, which characterized him as the
Hey, Bob.
Autobots' counterintelligence specialist. A former member of Cybertron's aristocracy who longed to return to the planet, he was a skilled but reluctant fighter, not fully committed to the Autobot cause, and as a result, not fully trusted by his teammates.
That makes sense.
According to this profile, Mirage was equipped with an electro-disruptor, which
What?
could scramble the senses of other robots,
Oh,
allowing him
that's
to
why
appear
Mirage.
to be places he wasn't,
Yeah.
or even altering
Shame
the
he
way
never
he
used
looked
it.
by causing them to see things that weren't there.
Yeah, quite
Hence
literally, a
his
Mirage.
name. However,
And yes,
Just
I
gave
am
him
drinking
visibility.
water.
Transformers media would depict Mirage's
Nice.
powers differently
Hydrate.
to the way Buddy
Yeah, I'm
Answer
drinking
described.
water over here because it's really
Multiple
hot here. I'm sorry,
stories in
guys.
the Transformers cartoon, comic book, and more showed him actually turning invisible
Ah.
and generating holographic images,
Oh.
as opposed to only making his enemies think they were seeing these things happen by directly disrupting their electronic senses.
Interesting.
Yep.
Despite this inconsistent presentation of his powers, Mirage was a prominent character in some of the earliest Transformers stories.
Yeah,
He had a
where did
notable
you come
role
from?
in the original 4-issue comic book
Indeed.
miniseries from Marvel.
That's the only
in
way
which
anyone
his
ever
doubts
draws
about
rabbits,
the
by the
Autobot
way.
cause led him to wonder
What do you
if he
mean?
was on
As
the
a
wrong
panther?
side.
That exact count.
Oh.
They just redrawn his package art. It's like the wiki has an entire collection of the various times he's been drawn like that.
Wow.
And at this point, people are just doing it to homage it.
Yeah.
Died until repeated clashes with the Decepticon Ravage convinced him that fighting alongside the Autobots was the right choice.
Ah.
Sadly, he never got to do very much in the comic again after this, though he did feature in some of the
Yeah.
early original stories written
Shockwave.
for the United Kingdom's version of the
Shockwave
series,
did what now?
including one in
Shockwave got him, and then after that point, it was the time to advertise new toys.
Oh.
which an electric shock temporarily supercharged his illusion casting abilities. Mirage also had a key role in the pilot miniseries for the Transformers cartoon, which
Oh.
saw him stop the Decepticons from returning to Cybertron by using his powers to sneak aboard their space cruiser and send it crashing into the ocean.
Damn.
Mirage would
Which is
continue
funny
to
as
appear
hell, by the
regularly
way.
throughout the show's first
Yeah.
few
Because prior to this,
seasons, and enjoyed
Optimus
another
grabbed a
spotlight
rocket
adventure.
pack, made a daring attempt to raid it, got shot down, and then Mirage just uncloaks, shoot the console, and jumps out.
That's kind of crazy.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. What the hell? This show is strange, but it's in a good way.
Yeah.
In the
You can
episode
tell that it shared
Traitor,
G.I. Joe
which
writers.
centered on the lack
Definitely.
of trust the other Autobots had in him. The episode saw Mirage attempt to trick
Oh.
the Decepticons into turning against one another, only to be caught in the act and fall under the mental control of the Insecticon Bombshell. The
He can
villains
do
used
that?
the mind-controlled Mirage to lure
Yeah,
the
it's
other
kind of his entire
Autobots into a
shtick.
trap,
Oh.
convincing the suspicious cliff jumper, who already didn't trust him, that Mirage really had turned traitor. Significantly,
Goddamn.
Mirage almost
For such a
never
little guy, he
used
can live
his
for the lot.
hologram abilities in the cartoon.
Yeah.
Probably because his fellow Autobot Hound could create holograms too. and
Ah,
it would
they
have been
didn't
pretty
want to
redundant for the show
brand
to feature
synergy.
two Autobots with the same power.
Still, that's an insane
Instead,
thing
the
to
cartoon
do.
focused on invisibility alone as Mirage's signature special power. which has sometimes led fans raised on the cartoon to react with confusion when Mirage has used his
he just
hologram
takes his
abilities in
cannon.
modern media.
Yeah. Mirage
Mirage's toy
is the
was
party's thief.
discontinued in 1986, and the character was quietly phased out of both the comic
I'm also
and
pretty sure they
cartoon.
lost the
He would
mold.
briefly return in
I
the comic a
wouldn't be
few years
surprised.
later, but was taken out of action again soon after. Just one of many Autobots deactivated by Starscream after he acquired cosmic power.
Oh.
No
There's a
further
lot
toys
that
of
apparently
Mirage
do
were
that, huh?
released in the original series,
Yeah.
but when the 1990s rolled around, he returned with a small GoBot figure in the Generation 2 toy line
Alright.
in 1995.
This is
yeah.
the mold I
And a figure
had.
with a spring-loaded one-step transformation in 1997's
cool.
Machine Wars.
I mean, they
That
did.
was meant for
After
G2.
that, as the
I mean,
21st
Hasbro
century
did buy
approached,
GoBots.
Hasbro began a lengthy period
Yeah.
of reusing Mirage's name, keeping their trademark on it active by applying it to multiple new characters who mostly also transformed into Formula
Yep.
1 style race cars.
I'm sure there's an exception, but I
The
can't
first
remember
of
them.
these new Mirages was introduced in 1999's
I'm not
Beast
surprised.
Machines toy line.
Honestly,
He was
that
one
they
of
would
the
keep using his
evil
name for
vehicles
Formula 1
created
cars.
by Megatron, and
Good
was
name.
an unintelligent prankster with the power of teleportation. The Generation 2 GoBot figure was recolored to create another
This was the one I
new
had.
Mirage for
Ah,
2001's
that show.
Robots in Disguise.
I
What if he
kinda-
also had an episode where he was accused of treason?
Wow.
Though this time it was because he didn't take a sniper shot and let the Predacons get away with a MacGuffin. And he was the cold, stoic type, so he didn't really explain himself. Abused cut ties with his fellow spy changers because of how they treated him, joined the Predacon, and immediately stabbed them in the back because this was a plan all along.
Of course it was.
And Spy, who was a member of the Autobot Ninja team, the
Ninja
Spy
Team.
Changers. This bot originated in Japan as a new character named Counter Arrow, but he was
Counter
renamed
Arrow?
Mirage when the series was imported to Hasbro markets.
I'm sorry,
The
Counter
rename
Arrow
was an
is just a
appropriate
really
one,
bad name.
as the Robots in Disguise cartoon included a spotlight episode for the character in which he made his teammates think he had turned traitor so that he could infiltrate Megatron's ranks and sabotage his newest weapons project. Later in
shoot
the toy
Shark
line,
Bite's
the
little thing
Beast
there.
Machines Mirage figure was recolored to create Mirage GT, a new
What?
form for the Robots in Disguise
What's
character.
the difference?
The Mirage introduced in 2000.
GT. Oh!
Okay, so ostensibly... Okay, so you see Metal, that stands for Grand Tour. It's the much maligned sequel to Mirage.
Oh my god, we're not doing this.
Okay, so what it actually stands for is Geosynchronous Transfer, though it didn't stand for that at the time. But the guy who writes Binotech is legitimately insane and introduced the GT system as a technology that lets Sparks and G1 occupy multiple bodies remotely.
That sounds insane.
And eventually managed to work his way up into explaining, hey, this Mirage is being operated via the GT system.
Sounds like he spent a lot.
Hirofumi Ichikawa is not well.
I can tell. I was about to say he sounds like the man who has a bunch of scribblings on his wall.
Pretty much. I mean, I assume it's mostly corkboard, but
Yeah, probably.
just a bunch of not yet canon concepts tied together that, if allowed, would fill every plot hole in existence.
Which we don't need that, honestly.
I'm fine with it. I actually enjoy his work a lot.
Huh. Well then, moving on.
2002's Transformers Armada was a mini-con, part
Oh.
of the race team, who combined with his comrades
the
Dirt
bomb
Boss
shield.
and Downshift to form the
Sky
powerful
Boom Shield.
Skyboom
Yeah,
Shield.
Skyboom Shield, sorry.
Mirage and his team appeared in both the Armada
But yeah, they
cartoon
eventually just
and
became
comic,
the
but
Shield.
they spent most of their time in the cartoon
For the
in
most part.
combined form. The comic gave Mirage a
Yeah,
bigger,
unlike
more
the-
individual role,
unlike the
characterizing him as a
Starsaber.
once cowardly bot who
Yep.
now stood up to injustice wherever he found it. Who
That's the thing about the
rebelled
comic. The
against
comic gave the
tyrannical
Minicons
Minicon
personality.
leader Dualor
Oh.
to help the Autobots save the life of their human friend, Rad White. Notably, the
Rad
comic
White.
Like, the Destruction
harkened back to
Minicon
the
team
original
isn't anything in the cartoon. In the comic, they are the leader of the Minicon Separatists. They are the ones trying to. Well, Dueler is the one trying to end the war by killing Optimus and Megatron.
Well, that sounds like a terrible idea.
It was working pretty well until Leader 1 betrayed him. And then Dueler betrayed Leader 1 back.
The power of invisibility.
Ah.
Armada's 2004 sequel, Transformers Energon,
What the
featured
hell?
its own Mirage, but this was
I
a
don't
much
remember
more
this one at
random
all.
use of the name.
Oh,
in this
right,
series,
upgraded Tidal
the
Wave.
Decepticon Tidal Wave changed his name to Mirage
Oh.
after being upgraded into
He also
a
got shorter.
gunboat form. Check
He
out
got
the
much
basics
smaller.
on Tidal Wave for the full story.
Also,
of
a
it.
lot more overtly gay for
Another
Megatron.
strange
What?
case was the 2011
I'm not joking.
live-action movie Dark of the Moon, which introduced a cocky Italian
Oh my God, I
accent
forgot about
robot who
Dino.
transformed into a Ferrari 458.
Oh.
Because Hasbro didn't have the license to produce official Ferrari merchandise, and because Ferrari didn't want a character based on their car to be labeled with a Hasbro trademark, this bot
Wow.
wound up being given 2 different names. In the film itself, he was named Dino after company founder Enzo Ferrari's son. But for
Oh.
tie-in media and merchandise, Hasbro
Mirage.
named him Mirage and depicted him as possessing invisibility and illusion powers like the original, which he didn't
I don't
use in the film.
remember this
In
game.
later years, Hasbro would switch.
It was
to
a
using the
prequel
Dino
game that
name,
ran on the
though to
Warp
date,
Cybertron
they still
engine.
haven't been able to produce a toy of the character.
Yeah,
with
I
an
don't remember
authentic
playing. I
Ferrari
only played like
ultimate
one or two of the movie tie-in games.
This was the good one. This was the one they got High Moon to do.
Oh. I don't remember playing Mirage.
In and amongst
That
all
one.
these new and alternate takes on the character, the original Mirage hasn't been forgotten.
Shout
Over
out to the
years, he's
fucking
received
2000s
multiple new
GoBots
toys,
Mirage I see.
including several
well then.
invisibility-themed ones made of see-through plastic, plus appearances in media like comic books and video games. The most memorable of which
So
tend
what's
to
going on
play
here?
up
Optimus,
his
that
uncertain
two-faced, he's
loyalties
sold us
and
out.
the suspicion with which his fellow Autobots
He looks
regard
so
him.
sad.
His most notable comic book adventures have been in stories from IDW Publishing, chief among them a 2008 self-titled Spotlight one-shot.
Oh, like Mirage is
had
one of
a
the biggest
vision
what the
of his
fucks in the
life
all of
might have been
IDW.
like if he had
Huh.
joined the Decepticons instead of the Autobots.
Because
Oh,
you're not sure if it
Other sig-
happened, if it was a vision. Because, yeah, no, it's a story of what if Mirage was... Like, it opens with Mirage waking up from a weird dream where he was an Autobot and then going on to raid the Autobot base.
Weird.
And then I think Combiner Wars tried to bring it in with the sense of, oh yeah, Mirage just has weird visions sometime. But, like, it never goes anywhere. It doesn't add anything, it's just there.
Alright then. I don't know what to think about all this, but it sounds like in crazy comic book stuff that I'm used to. Where things just kind of happen and then other writers goes, I can fix this, and this makes another squiggly line going in all directions.
Kinda.
Significant
Like, John
items
Barber did his best to pull
for
everything
Mirage
together, but
included
yeah, he
all-heel
fucked some stuff
Megatron,
up.
which saw him
It's the one problem of having a bunch. It's the one reason comic books have always had this problem when they switch. With switching writers, it's you have to justify what the last guy did, or you have to be like, well, I didn't want to write that story, so I'm going to try and write this story. And then
I'd say the big contribution Barber had. Okay, so Spotlight Wheelie has the Reflector Trio fucking die in a spaceship crash.
well then.
All Hail Megatron, canonically later, has them on Earth pulling people apart in alleyways.
Well then.
John Barber invented a time-traveling spaceship just to make sure they got to their deaths on time.
You work with what you got, honestly.
Yep.
once again wrongly suspected of being a traitor who had sold out the Autobots after the heroes suffered a devastating defeat. And Combiner Wars, published in
of course, the
conjunction with the
Combiner
release
Wars.
of a new Mirage figure in the
Yep.
2015 toy line of the same
There's
name.
so many
part of
Combiners.
Another vision led Mirage on an adventure that
He's part of
resulted
what
in
now?
him and a team of his fellow Autobots acquiring
Optimus
the power
Maximus.
to merge
Oh.
with Optimus Prime into the giant robot Optimus Maximus.
I will say the Combiners War toys do look
Multiple
cool
new
though.
toys of Mirage were released
They're
as
okay.
part of the War for Cybertron trilogy.
They're a bit too
including
simplistic
a
because their entire
Cybertronian
torso
mode
blocks
figure
can't really
in
transform.
2019's Siege, and an Earth mode figure in 2021's Kingdom.
Now these two
The
look
figures
good.
inspired Mirage's
Yep.
return to TV screens in Netflix's tie-in
He's
cartoon,
just fighting the
using his
reflectors.
illusion powers to deceive and disorient
Yep.
the Decepticons.
Wait, if they're
as the
holograms, how did
Autobots
that take a
battle them
shot?
for possession of the life-giving
Don't think about it.
Allspark. At one point, he used his abilities to disguise himself as a Decepticon in a failed attempt to infiltrate a group of the villains. A scene that inspired a recolor of the Siege figure
Of course
in
it
this
did.
Decepticon disguise paint job. And of course, most recently, 2023 has seen
Rise
Mirage
of the Beast.
finally truly hit the big screen with a new live-action incarnation of the character.
Again,
being introduced.
that's a character that was
Rise
clearly
of the
designed to be
Beasts,
jazzed.
voiced by comedian
Yeah.
Pete Davidson. Though he
He's
possessed the
voiced by
classic
Keith
character's
Davidson?
illusion powers, this Mirage was quite unlike the original in most other respects, being a smart-mouthed, rebellious young Autobot who loved life on Earth. Plus, rather than a Formula One car, he transformed into a Porsche 964.
Oh,
He befriended the human Noah Diaz after Noah tried to steal him while he was in vehicle mode.
oh,
And after he was badly damaged battling TerrorCon leader Scourge at the film's
TerrorCons.
climax, Mirage
Yep.
converted his damaged body into an exosuit for Noah so the pair
What?
could take on the
A
villain
headmaster?
together. It's quite possible this new
no,
screen
because that's
styling
Mirage's
could lead to
entire
bigger
body.
roles for Mirage
Oh.
in the future, so
That's
keep your eyes
crazy.
peeled for further appearances. But be sure
Also,
to
he
look
was
closely,
actually
because when it comes to Mirage, you can never be sure that what you're seeing.
also he came back online in the post-credit scene.
oh.
They intended to kill him, but then they realized, there's not really any
Did you
gain.
enjoy him in the new movie? Which of the other bots
Wait, what?
with Barry's name is your favorite? Let me know in the comments. I've got more right.
What did you
What?
just say? There's
They
not...
intended to kill Mirage the first time, well, at the end of Rise of the Beasts,
Okay.
but they had the post-credit scene with him coming back online in a body pieced together from stolen cars.
Okay. Then you...
Noah looks out for his homies.
Ah, that's what you mean. Yeah, that's nice. Anyway, if you like our perusing of the history of Mirage, whether we can see him or not, consider liking, commenting, and you know the usual deal. If you want more, usually 500 views, I guess. But yeah. If you like what we're doing here, please do consider checking out our stuff. And, yeah. We'll see you there. And, like, comment, subscribe what you want us to do next. Or see next. Or learn about next. Because we could learn about a lot of stuff. Anyway.
Apparently iguanas. I don't know how there's enough about iguanas to make the basics on, but apparently there is.
I mean, honestly, you could probably make some of the crazier stuff. Like, you could go on about comics about the Wreckers or something.
The Wreckers have had a shit ton of appearances. Iguana shows up in group lineups.
That's not what I'm talking about. I mean, quite literally in just making a video like this. Anyway, thank you all so much, and I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.